At one point of Guyana's western border with Venezuela, the Renamo River flows into the Cuyuni River, and there is an island at this junction called Ankoko Island of about 2 to 3 square miles. According to the map in existence since 1904, the border runs roughly through the center of Ankoko Island from north to south, so that the western part of the island is Venezuelan and the eastern Guyanese. For some time, in fact during last month, a number of Venezuelans were crossing onto the Guyanese side and have since then been carrying out certain works on our territory. The report of this came to the notice of the government a few days ago, consisting of senior officials and 2 senior police officers, visited the island the day before yesterday, Wednesday the 12th of October. This party verified and confirmed the earlier report received through unofficial channels. In the opinion of the government, this intrusion by Venezuelans constitutes a breach of the Geneva Agreement entered into between the governments of the United Kingdom and Venezuela on the 17th of February 1966, to which agreement the government of Guyana is now a party. And today, I have sent a cable to Dr. Iribarren Borges, the Foreign Minister of Venezuela, strongly protesting the intrusion of Venezuelan personnel onto Guyanese territory and asking that immediate steps be taken by the government of Venezuela to ensure the immediate withdrawal of all such personnel. I have this morning informed the leader of the opposition of the situation and held discussions with him. Meanwhile, I await a reply from the Venezuelan government. I consider it my duty to inform the nation of this latest development and to assure you that every step is being taken to retain our territorial sovereignty by peaceful means. Your government proposes to abide by the terms of the Geneva Agreement and is hopeful that the government of Venezuela will do likewise. You are asked to remain calm and to await further information. Long live Guyana.
Good evening and welcome to Straight Up. It's 4 minutes after 8 o'clock that's Eastern Standard Time. It's 4 minutes after 9 o'clock in Guyana. Beautiful Guyana, which we are standing up and try to ensure that Maduro, well, we already know that Maduro is a bluff. Maduro is a madman. And so we're not too bothered about that. We are well protected, guys. At every level, we are well protected. Please do share the link. We are well protected, all of the people of Guyana, except the unpatriotic individuals, the thieves, the vagabonds, the criminals. We know who they are. So it doesn't make sense we call their names. It doesn't make sense we even mention Jagdeo's name, Irfaan's name. You guys already know. But look at the energy, seriously. Regardless of whether it is a sluggish, slow, whatever, snail-like energy, it is still energy. You know what I mean?
Essequibo belongs to Guyana. 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 Any other thing? Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Not a blade of grass, Guyana. Not one blue saki. Not one rice grain.
Not one grass, not a blade of grass. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Well, at least they're doing something, right? Seriously, at least they're doing something. They're not running around the country doing this.
I love you in every way. I don't know why.
I'll tell you.
Oh, why? I don't know why. Oh, why?
Woman, you may not be working and drive a fast car. Come me now, go let you out, how we are.
I've lived in Guyana and I've attended multilateral school. And from my primary days in school to secondary school, I've learned and I've understood that Guyana covers 83 square miles of landmass.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
So you heard that sellout. You heard that unpatriotic individual. That's sellout. That's sellout. You know what I mean? I want to say more than that. That's sellout. And so listen to this. You heard Forbes Burnham earlier. Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, former president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the late president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, LFSB. But listen to what we have now. We have reduced. We have gone to nothing. Absolutely nothing we have gone to. Good evening to all of you. And as you know, this is just going to be about half hour. Don't get carried away. We're not going to go the distance with you guys tonight. Not tonight, because I got things to do, man. And those of you who are heading down, I heard Woodbine has a nice big dance tonight. If you bump into me there at Woodbine, feel free. I'll be at the bar taking a Guinness. I haven't done that in a while. I may. I'm not saying that I will be at Woodbine. I may stop by at Woodbine tonight. So don't say that I told you that I'll be there and then when you go, I'm not there. But listen to this lunatic. Just listen to him, the difference. And this is how bad Guyana has gone. Really, really bad.
The boundary between British Guyana and Venezuela, which Venezuela recognized for more than 60 years before the court has had a chance to rule on its legal validity in the case that is currently before it. Secondly, the referendum sought to reject the jurisdiction of the court and refuse to recognize its ultimate judgment, even though the court has twice ruled that it has jurisdiction to determine the validity of the arbitral award and the finality of the land boundary. Both times, rejecting by overwhelming majorities Venezuela jurisdictional objections. To formally annex the Essequibo region by incorporating it into Venezuela as a new Venezuelan state, to give Venezuelan citizenship and national identity cards to the Guyanese population, and to develop the territory as part of Venezuela. All of these actions are violations of the most fundamental principles of international law, enshrined in the United Nations and OS charters. All of them threaten Guyana's sovereignty, territorial integrity.
Big words. Big words. Sovereignty, and all manner of things. What an embarrassment. A man who stands there pretending to be the president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. What an embarrassment, guys. Just an embarrassment. But just imagine, he is talking XY, and then the other one, the other Tanti Merle, is talking about giving away a piece. Always talking about giving away a piece of Venezuela. We can't trust these guys. Folks, I repeat, we cannot trust these vagabonds. They are criminals. They are Looney Tunes. They are a bunch of vagabonds. We just cannot trust them at all with nothing, absolutely nothing. So for those of you who are planning on collecting your NIS or your pension, whether overseas or wherever, don't go next to these guys. They are bandits. They are political bandits. So while he's standing there attempting to be patriotic next to a guy who is probably older than, who is it that built the wharf? Who was it again that built the wharf? Noah, right? Clipped Nascimento is sitting next to this vagabond. I don't know what's going on. A bunch of Looney Tunes in Guyana. So while he is standing there talking trash, listen to the other lunatic. Listen to him wanting to give away, sell out Guyana.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
So why is he planning or talking about giving Venezuela a channel out to the sea? Why doesn't he give Venezuela a channel into his sea? You see? You guys see what I'm talking about there, right? Give Venezuela a channel to his sea, not Guyana. Guyana doesn't belong to Irfaan Ali. Guyana doesn't belong to Barra Jagdeo. Guyana belongs to the people, all the people of not 83 square miles, 83,000 square miles. And we've got to let that Looney Tune know, that madman in Venezuela, Maduro, know that we are not going to just lay dunk and take it like that. Lay dunk. We are not going to do that at all. And so I saw that there was a church in Guyana. And those guys were basically, all of them were basically waving the Guyana flag. The Guyana flag. Can somebody tell Mr. Rickford Burke that he has 30 seconds to show up in my courtroom? 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Oh, there he is. There he is. That's how we operate. 30 seconds in here. Rickford, how are you doing?
I got so scared I just flew in here.
Exactly, right? You have half an hour.
No, thanks,
because
sir.
I know you have an engagement, and I have to stop by at Woodbine. I'm going out at Woodbine or somewhere, man, because I'm tired of those Looney Tunes, those cartoon characters in Guyana. One of them held a so-called press conference this afternoon. He can't even speak sovereignty. Rickford, before we get into Tantimorel and that silly press conference, because he's saying one thing and the other one is talking about giving away a channel.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
You're going to make a concession on something that doesn't belong to him. He's not talking about channel into his sea. He's talking about a channel in Guyana's territory. He doesn't have. Anyways, Rickford, before we get into this here, I saw earlier, sir, that Irfaan Ali suddenly announced, 1 hour ago, this afternoon, Irfaan Ali met with a group of investors and developers. Look at the investors and the developers. Just take a good look. The investors and developers, they got a safe face. So they grab a couple of these guys, and you know what I mean when I say these guys, Chap Gatani, Yatin Boots, Pans, no, they're investors. Look, I'm not knocking at these guys, but they know They know that Irfan Ali is making a mockery of them, all of these. But these folks don't care. They don't care, except this guy. This guy knows what's up. He knows what's up. But, Rickford, let's begin with this here. Your take on this haste of Irfan Ali rushing with a group of individuals who happen to be African descent. What is your take on this rush right now?
Well, Mark, good night. Good night to all your listeners. I think that the government is realizing that the world is onto them, that we are exposing their racism and their discrimination and their lack of inclusivity. And so they're now rushing to, they love black people bad, like sliced bread, all of a sudden. And so they're rushing to show the world that they're inclusive and they want black people to have businesses and opportunities for contracts and so on. It's good. It means that we're effective, Mark. We're exposing their racism. They're trying to correct it. At least they're trying to correct it through cosmetic measures. But they have come to a point where the world is going to assess them by their deeds. And so now they're trying to do things to give the perception that they're inclusive. But we know behind the scenes that they have not been inclusive. We know that they're a racist regime. We know that they practice certain apartheid policies or implement certain apartheid policies, and we'll continue to pressure them. So, Mark, take a pat on the back. All of this is because of the work that we have been doing. The opposition, the diaspora, CGID, you, everybody, we've been exposing them. And so now they're reacting. It's a reactionary government. And more so, they curse out these people. They know that once this team, this fact-finding mission, starts to talk to people on the ground, they will hear all the complaints about discrimination, deprivation of lands, seizure of people's lands, refusal to give black people COVID relief, refusal to give black farmers flood relief, refusal to give people business opportunities, black people contracts, selective giving out of house lots, breaking down black people's homes, firing people indiscriminately, using the police to crush dissent and free speech. They know all of those things will come up. And that's why they're trying to attack the team, to create a narrative around their presence that they're biased. Today, General Meche said that the team was received by Roysdale Ford, and the team they're lobbyists for Rickford Burke. I mean, it's disgraceful that you have an entire government just building a narrative around nothing. And on a serious note, Mark, they're creating serious problems to Guyana because they deliberately refuse to give these people security. Then they send people to harm them. They send their thugs to try to compromise their personal security, their physical security in Linden. I wonder what they think will happen to them when they come to this country. They're impetuous. They're just reactionary. They're not thinking. I don't know what will happen to them when they come to this country. They should not get the protection of the United States government or any state or city police. They forfeited that right. So it reflects bad on the country. Those people are going to go present their report, and we'll wait to see what the report says. I mean, they have a lot to say. One thing they could say is that this is a despotic government. They're an autocracy, and they're racist. I'm pretty sure that if these were a bunch of white people, Irfaan Ali will be kissing up to them.
More than just kissing up to them. You are correct. They have left these folks. And Rickford, let me just say good evening to those who are now joining us. Rickford Burke, no stranger to you guys. He's a lobbyist. It's a new title. Rickford, but the PPP regime is running scared. That is a fact. Good evening to all of you guys watching, whether in Guyana, outside of Guyana. We're talking about the corrupt PPP regime, the installed PPP regime, of course. Rickford, you saw what played out there, that thuggish mentality in Linden. I was made to understand some of the PPP thugs. And this is a report that will be sent to whichever agencies the people may have already sent it to, with the names of those political PPP thugs in Linden. Have you heard that they actually prevented some of the visiting team members from leaving? You know what that is? You know what it's called, right? But what
Yeah,
is your take on that?
that's unlawful detention or kidnapping.
Yeah.
And
what is your take on what played out there?
I think the United States should either ban the people involved in this from coming to the United States or revoke their visas if they have any. This is a serious issue. I hope they made police reports. They literally went in there and threatened the people physically. Listen, Mark, the PPP is a violent political party. They believe in violence. From the 1960s, they've been perpetrating violence on Black people and East Indians that don't support them, and Amerindians that don't support them. From 1960 to 1964, they killed Black people, burned them, burned their homes, burned their villages, until the new PNC government, which was a coalition government of the UF, United Front, and Burnham's PNC, came to power and put an end to it. And the PNC ruled all the way to 1992. And then in 1992, when they came to power, they continued their violence. The police starting shooting people at the election, or just after the election, all the way through 1997 till Jagdeo came into power. They started to kill people. When they were in opposition from 1964 straight through to 1992, they committed acts of domestic terrorism. They burned Canefield, burnt bridges, dig up roads, sabotage the economy, and kill people. And Jagdeo and Irfaan stand up there every day acting like they're self-righteous. They're a murderous party. They're a treasonous party. They're a terroristic party. They don't believe in freedom. Jagdeo was the other day talking about, in 2023, he's talking about, well, you know, we're still a Leninist communist party, and we have to debate whether or not we want to change that language in our constitution. In 2023, he is sticking to Putin's style of government. And I don't think the PPP will back off of this autocratic, racist, apartheid, ethnocratic style of government until there's, again, a 1960, as a matter of fact, they will engender that. Their hostility, their autocracy, their ethnocracy, their dictatorship, their oppression is going to engender civic conflict unless there is intervention by the international community. And they like to say that we are racist and we're dividing the country when we're just offering commentary on their governance.
You know, and that's one of the things. And so we must continue to do what we're doing. We cannot allow the Looney Tunes within the PPP. Some of them who are watching this show now, they don't like it. They don't like.
They're taking notes. They're taking notes.
Yeah, that they're being exposed. But you mentioned earlier the fact-finding team from the U.S. and these folks have made it abundantly clear from the beginning that they are not there on behalf of the U.S. government, but the independent team, independent group, and they will send their reports to different agencies. They were in Region 5 a couple days ago. They met with scores of people. They were well received. All across the country, they were well received. But the thugs, the PPP thugs in Linden, didn't appreciate. Now, these are folks out in Region 5. They met with people from all walks. They met with the Aziz, the family, Lachman Aziz. These are people who have had their butcher shop burnt down and their lives threatened by the PPP thugs as well. So they had successful meetings wherever they go. But even in Linden, there was a successful meeting there, despite the paid PPP thugs, the Flatfoot hustlers, who did what they did. Mr. Burke, why do you suppose, sir? I think all of our listeners, most by now, should know that the PPP has a lot to hide. But why are they so hateful towards this group of people when, in fact, just 2 years ago, they met with most of the same people, open arm. They cut bread, had bread with them at State House. Now, suddenly, these people are the worst people on the face of the earth for them.
Because of the words fact-finding. They are contemptuous of anybody who wants to investigate or discuss their acts of discrimination. And they, as I said before, they know that once they start talking to people, people will provide evidence, empirical data about racism and racial discrimination. Also, I think Ali is upset because the last time when they went to Guyana, he asked them how they could frame me to get me arrested or deal with me or get the US government to silence me or something like that. And of course, those people can't be involved in a conspiracy. They're elected officials. So all of that combined, and the fact that he's claiming, now I want to say something, Mark. Ali is arguing, and Jagdeo, and the entire crew in the PPP, they're saying that Rickford Burke spoke about this delegation before they arrived in Guyana. I spoke about both delegations because we heard that fact-finding missions will be going to Guyana. And there are others to come, I understand. It doesn't mean that I have personal knowledge of who the people are or whatever it is, but organizations are listening. They're listening now to the complaints of racism, and people are acting. Now, the Senator Roxanne Passad's team, I spoke about it. I issued 2 statements, or CGID. CGID issued one, I issued one. Calling on them to be unbiased and don't believe everything the government says, meet with a wide cross-section of the community to understand what is happening in Guyana. In addition to that, about 70% of those people are my friends. About 70% of the people who went to Guyana on Senator Passad's team, I know personally. About 70% of them. They're my friends. They didn't attack those because they didn't say anything about fact-finding. They didn't talk anything about wanting to investigate discrimination. But this team, who I don't know anything about, I spoke about fact-finding missions going to Guyana. They're trying to attack them, saying that I send them. Today, the president raised it again. He said, they are my lobbyists. It's a narrative they're trying to build. But the fact is, nobody talks, or they think that they're superior, where they hang out with criminals. Irfaan Ali went to China with Tamesh Jagmohan. All of a sudden, he turned a sheikh there. He went to China with Tamesh Jagmohan. Tamesh Jagmohan, according to the FBI reports that we have seen, is on the terrorism watch list for the United States. Tamesh Jagmohan is being investigated for gold smuggling, money laundering, drug trafficking, and funding international terrorism. The president went on a mission with him, official mission to China. Ed Ahmad and his brother that owns Sharif, that all of these people go to their functions and hang out with them, is a convicted criminal in America, convicted for housing fraud. The Mohammeds, who the president is posing with, I understand, that was published in Reuters, they're under investigation and their company is soon to be sanctioned. But you know what? They're East Indians. They're East Indians. And they want to create this narrative, reaching back into the 1963 KKK jargon, where they tell black people that we are criminals and we live in basements. They want to attack us because they think by attacking us with all of these names that they're calling us like imbeciles, that people in America would disassociate ourselves with it, from us. And they think by using the Guyana police force to put out wanted bulletins and create false narratives and create allegations and beg people to frame us, that we will be scared. I am not scared of Ali. I'm not scared of the Guyana police force. I'm not scared of our Jagdeo. I'm a law-abiding citizen. They could put out how many wanted bulletins they want. I will never keep silence. I will always speak out about their racism, about their racist policies and practices, and their racial discrimination, their corruption, their criminality, and that the crimes against humanity, as well as their murders and killings of African Guyanese. I will always speak up. They will never be able to silence me. Never.
Rickford, I know you have another engagement, but we still have a few more minutes. This school in Linden that was supposed to have been completed about a year ago is still there. $300+ million Guyanese taxpayers' money given to friends and cronies of the PPP. Sadly, those thugs who wanted to address the fact-finding team from the U.S. hid this from the people. They didn't want to say that the contracts are given to inexperienced cronies of the PPP regime, and this is how the people of Linden have to suffer as a result of those very cronies who wanted to speak yesterday. Your take on the hypocrisy?
Well, I'm beginning to wonder if the government deliberately gave them this project for them to fail, and not giving contracts to experienced Black contractors and developers. There's something going on in the PP government where they're rushing to give Black people who kiss up to them and people who they perceive support them, or people who stay quiet because they don't want to be ostracized, or their supporters who are Black, they give them contracts just to say that that is diversity. And that's not diversity. Diversity is allowing everybody to freely, regardless of political affiliation, regardless of race, participate in the economy, participate in the economic development of the country, participate in opportunities, economic opportunities. And that's not happening. And some of these people that they're giving contracts to, even their own supporters, are not contractors. They're just creating a means for them to get money. And I think this is what is happening here. I don't want to be seen to be criticizing an Afro-Guyanese company that has a contract, but I have to go deeper and analyze what is happening here. They give these guys a contract. Yes, we want more Black people to get contract. We don't only want Black people supporting the PPP to get contract, or who are perceived to be PPP to get a contract. We want everybody to get a contract, but we want people who are qualified to get these contracts so that they can execute the job and use taxpayers' money effectively and for the benefit of the people. Not for the benefit of themselves or the benefit of the PPP, for the benefit of the people. And I think we're seeing here where this might be the case. And I think it's happening in Linden, and it's unfortunate because you have a Black community and you have a Black contractors. So what you have here is that the PPP putting Black people against each other. And I believe firmly that the people of Linden should get some explanation in terms of why this project has been stalled like this, how to get it going. But the problem is the government does not communicate with the regional administration. And we haven't spoken about the border issue here, but I'm hearing that in regional administrations in Essequibo, there's absolutely no communication from the government. Forget about all that fluff that Irfaan Ali spoke about today. Oh, we have a strategy, we have this and that. They don't have nothing. They don't have nothing. They don't even have teams of people going to major capitals in the world and meeting with the formulations committees in the legislatures, in the parliament or Congress, and meeting with the president or the prime ministers of this country and mobilizing them to issue strong, harsh warnings against Venezuela. Why haven't they mobilized the United States to move some military assets in the Atlantic Ocean to deter Venezuela?
One of the things and the main thing, though, Rickford, is that this corrupt PPP regime, this installed PPP regime, they're not competent to do the things you have just suggested. They're not bright enough. They're a bunch of lagu bagus who go around to Saudi Arabia begging with a begging basket. Now let's go to another issue. I noticed here that a comment from Gary Greenidge says here, ERC, the Ethnic Relations Commission, told Sherrod Duncan, how dare you call Mark Phillips by his correct name, that is, quote unquote here, a house slave. So is Mark Phillips a full-fledged house slave? Now look, the point that I'm making here is not whether Mark Phillips is a house slave or not. We already know, it's pretty obvious by now. But the fact that the ERC would rush to issue a threat to Mr. Duncan, issue him a threat, when Jagdeo has been calling people all sorts of names, criminals, this, that, live in basement, all manner of things he has been saying. And the ERC remained quiet in the face of all these sort of things. When Irfaan Ali called David Hines all sort of names and threatening people on the East Coast and so forth, where was the ARC? Where was this guy? And this guy happens to be, he is the head of the ERC, the chairman of the ERC, the guy in the middle. Do you know him, Rickford?
Isn't that the DPP's husband?
Not the DPP's husband, yes. And that's exactly what's going on in the country right now. So the DPP controls that agency. Then her husband now sits there, friends with the Mohammeds and all these people, and sending Sherrod Duncan a notice, but nothing on what Barra Jagdeo says and does to people.
But I want to address that.
Sure.
First of all, the PPP has this narrative about, oh, go to the ERC. Guyanese, the ERC is illegitimate as currently constituted. There was no proper consultation with the ERC. The ERC has lackeys of the PPP there. PPP ethnic practitioners. No one should complain to them. They're a waste of time. The ERC is the PPP's mechanism to monitor the speech of Black people. They don't monitor the speech of the PPP. As you rightly said, Barra Jagdeo sits there like the grand wizard of the KKK and call Black people all sorts of racist epithet. And the ERC does, I'm a criminal. I've never been arrested. I'm a criminal. Aubrey's a criminal. Granger's a criminal. You're a criminal. The only person he hasn't admitted as a criminal is his mother. Everybody's a criminal. And the ERC says nothing. The East Indian supporters of the PPP go on Facebook and tell people that they're hungry belly dogs. I have never seen the ERC issue one statement condemning that. I have never seen the ERC issuing a statement condemning the nasty racist rhetoric from Live in Guyana, which is managed by Kwame McCoy. I have never seen the ERC issue a statement condemning the most racist, ugly rhetoric from their former member, or maybe he's still a member, the man with the security company, which is part of this same man's Muslim organization. I have never seen the ERC say anything about East Indians, supporters of the PPP. So the ERC should rename themselves the Black Free Speech Monitoring Institution of Guyana.
You know,
that's
one
all
of the
they
victims,
do.
and there are lots of victims. And Rhonda Lane is one of
Roshan Khan. Roshan Khan has made the most vile racist comments.
Roshan Khan's name says it all. Khan. He is the guy through his security agency called Roshan Khan, RK Security. Lots and lots of complaints about how he treats, according to the complaints, how he treats the female workers. And we can get into that some other, how he really treats them. But outside of that, though, Rhonda Lane and lots of other people looking like Rhonda Lane. Rhonda Lane said something, according to them. It was not proven in court. The prosecutor in the court said that her phone was basically left and anybody could have had access to her phone. The magistrate in the case, some magistrate Singh, ruled against Rhonda Lane and said that she's guilty for some silly stuff. And Rhonda Lane was fined 500,000 Guyana dollars. That is how they go after mainly persons of African descent. And you are correct. That is why the ERC is there. Now, they might take one or two members who don't, even if they vote against something, they don't have the majority. And so, like trade unionist Norris Witte is one of those members, and I have a lot of respect for Norris, but Norris' vote doesn't count. He's just basically there to move along. But the majority of the members of ERC are PPP supporters.
But Mark, I think Mr. Witte should resign. If the ERC is only going after Afro-Guyanese, he should not associate himself with it as an Afro-Guyanese. I believe that if the ERC can function, the people who are not supporting their racist political agenda should resign. So tonight I want to call on Mr. Witte to resign from the ERC if he is not satisfied that it's being fair and balanced. Why they're still there? Break up the institution. Force the government to constitute a body that, if they honestly want to have an ERC that functions in the best interest of all Guyanese, regardless of political or racial persuasions, let them appoint somebody who is not biased. How is this man? How is this man? Hack. How does he become a chairman of the ERC? So they have their own people in all of these institutions, and then they come and argue that these institutions exist and we must go to them. No. By Jagdeo and Irfaan, the racist practitioners in Guyana, must not tell Black people how they want to resolve their complaints about racism. Let them keep that for the PPP. We will be determined. We Afro-Guyanese, or opposition supporters, or Amerindians, or East Indians who don't support them, that they oppress, will determine how our complaints should be resolved. They can't tell us what to do. They can't tell Amerindians what to do, or East Indians who don't support them what to do. What is this? They wanted to create a one-party state where everything surrounds the PPP, and I'm sure that's the impression they're giving to this fact-finding mission. That's the impression they're giving to the fact-finding mission, because everything they want to control. They want to control who the police protects. They want to control who could speak. They want to control who could get radio license. They want to control who could use the airport facility. They want everything. They want to control everything. They want to control water. They want to control the pump. They want to control the cokers. Everything these people want to control. Everything. Government doesn't work that way.
And those of us who don't want them to control us they're attacking us. We are racist. We are bad guys. I don't look that to me by now. Rickford is throwing water and ducks back. I ignore the likes of a Jagdeo or an Irfaan Ali because they're minions as far as I'm concerned. They're just flatfoot hustlers. That is just what they are about. Flatfoot hustlers. They mean nothing well for Guyana. Rickford, I know you have another schedule. I also have to head to Woodbine. It's been a busy front, the illegitimate government, the installed regime headed by a bunch of criminals. Remember, Irfaan Ali was charged 19 fraud charges. To this day, we don't know which university. Where is the University of IFLAT? He was banned from entering Canada as a result, allegedly, money laundering and all manner of things. Remember when the Canadians revoked his visa or banned him from going to Canada? He said he's going to tell the nation why. Over 3 years now, he can't say why. He knows why. Maybe some of us know why, but these are the kind of people who want to talk about criminal, and so forth and so on. Look, let us go. Your closing remarks, please, as the fact-finding mission team about to wrap up and head back to the U.S. with their wonderful report on behalf of the people of Guyana. Jagdeo, they're not going to like it. Your closing remarks.
Well, I look forward to the report. And I think the nation, the Caribbean, people in the United States are watching. I think elected officials in the United States are appalled that the government of Guyana can attack elected officials from the United States, can fail to protect them, can send people to harm them. The PPP send those people to physically harm those people. They were so traumatized that they canceled their public schedule for the rest of their trip. I'm shocked that they didn't unleash their probably whatever squads they have now on these people, because they know that the people's reports can affect U.S. policy. And I urge the people to be very frank in their report, to say what the findings are, say what the people said to them, say what they saw. And
the people will do that. A bit of information is the people are just so saddened based on what they've heard. And it possibly reminds them of the KKK. Remember, a lot of these elected officials who are there
are from the South.
Them are former elected. They're from the Deep South. So it's kind of like opening fresh wounds on these people, Rickford. But
Mark,
and that is what the PPP is afraid of.
Let me say this. I am appalled that at a time when Venezuela, an enemy of Guyana, has military personnel by the thousands at our border, threatening to invade our country. Today, the chief of the military in Venezuela said Venezuela will use force to recapture Essequibo. You have the president of Guyana attacking a U.S. fact-finding mission. You have Jagdeo attacking all the black people in the country, black leaders, who's a criminal, dividing the country. Up to now, Jagdeo has not withdrawn his racist remarks that the black people in the military of Guyana, in the GDF, are criminals that kick down the doors of East Indian people in Berbice. And again, I call on the Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force to ask Jagdeo to withdraw those comments.
You know,
if why should they defend Jagdeo and his government and their supporters?
For a quick minute there, Rickford, because a lot of people probably can't remember what Jagdeo said about the military. They just probably can't remember. Here it is. So you heard that, the people heard that he said, when these people, these military guys, these honorable men and women of the Guyana Defense Force, when they go and they kick down the doors of PPP supporters, all manner of things they have said about these people, and now they're talking about defending the borders and so forth. The ERC is not going to say anything about Jagdeo and this at all. They're not going to do that. But Rickford, a shame and a disgrace, man. Shame and a disgrace.
Shame. I want to call on the people of Guyana to focus on the security. Ask the government to focus on the security. They have no plan to defend Guyana. Don't worry about all that bluffing or finale doing. Oh, we have our international partners and we have this. How come the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom has not said anything to deter Venezuela? Why hasn't the Prime Minister of Canada or the government of Canada said anything to deter Venezuela? China, the United States, none. They are incompetent. They haven't traveled the world.
Not even CARICOM that has a headquarters there. Guyana needs to pull out of
CARICOM issued a statement calling for peace.
Not even Maya Motley. You know who are the ones that should go and defend Guyana? These people. These thugs, look at them, a private security firm connected to the PPP beating up an African Guyanese, all because he went to ask for his money. Let them have these thugs go and defend Guyana. Let them have these thugs go and defend Guyana. I don't know, but it is what it is. Mr. Burke, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
I know
Good night to everybody. Have a great weekend.
I'll be at Woodbine. Yeah. I should be at Woodbine. I'm not going to tell you guys where I'm going to be, because a lot of you might rush out and want for me to buy a Guinness for you and high wine, and I'm not on that. I'm not on that at all. Yeah. But anyways, look, we've got to be serious. We've got to continue to expose the corrupt, criminal PPP regime. That is what they are. They are a pack of criminals. They don't mean well for Guyana at all. Anyways, hey, I have a story to tell you guys. Some of you might get vexed, but some of you may want to watch it. Coming up in 9 minutes time, 9 o'clock, right here on 107.1 FM, David Arthur Granger, the former president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, has something to say about Venezuela. 9 o'clock. So as soon as we sign off from this broadcast, some of you might suck your teeth, but tune back in to hear what David Arthur Granger, former president, has to say about Venezuela. All right, but for now, I'm out of here. Rickford Burke is already out of his basement. Yep, he is, right? But the ERC, they're not going to go after Jagdeo and these people, but they run after, I don't give a damn about Jagdeo or PPP and Irfaan and these Looney Tunes, mind you. And those thugs in Linden that prevented those people from leaving momentarily, right? Leaving that building. Okay, that's all we should say. God bless you guys. Granger coming up on the top of the hour, right here on 107.1 FM. I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful Saturday. Allow me to go to Woodbine, please. If you don't see me there, head down there and pay a little $10, head in and enjoy the session there at Woodbine Ballroom. And don't forget, December 1st, we will be there at Woodbine again, all of us with our Guyana flag in our hands. God bless you. And God bless our beautiful, beautiful country. We love it. We might be away, but we still love it. We can't allow those criminals, Jagdeo and Irfaan and these guys, we can't allow them to control us. We can't. But for now, I'm out of here, man. I'm gone. I love you guys. God bless you.
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, so call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.